With Terraria 1.4 reworking the well-fed buff into 3 tiers, it has become important to have a good method of obtaining high-tier foods, especially in the late game. So for this reason, I've gone ahead and done some testing in order to find the fastest and easiest way to farm for the Exquisitely Stuffed buff. Now, there are some foods that give you the Exquisitely Stuffed buff that are made with large, tedious crafting recipes. But these foods are obviously not easy to farm, so I quickly scrapped them. One of the more enticing options is the barbecue ribs. This is because they have a very long duration of 24 minutes and have a good drop chance from multiple enemies. The problem is that it only drops from post-Plantera dungeon enemies, making a fully AFK farm dangerous and complicated to build, which is not what I was looking for, so I ruled these out as well. Milkshakes and steaks also both have very good durations, but drop from annoying enemies and have low drop chances, so I ruled them out as well. This then landed me on pizza and spaghetti. These two foods are from the marble and granite mini biomes respectively. They both have decent durations at 8 minutes each, and they have decent drop chances at 2% from the respective enemies. And the best part is, with the changes to granite elementals in 1.4, the enemies that drop these foods are very easy to farm, and they also can be farmed in both hard mode and pre-hard mode, unlike most of the exquisitely stuffed foods. So, for these reasons, I settled on these foods, and let's now take a quick look at how I went about farming them. Alright, so here I am in my test world, and let's quickly go over what I've got going on here. So the easiest way to get granite and marble enemies to spawn is basically just standing on either a granite or a marble block. So that's why I have these single blocks here in the middle. Basically, if I'm standing on this marble, or this is granite, if I'm standing on this granite block here and I turn on enemy spawns, we'll see that granite enemies immediately start spawning. And it's only going to be granite enemies because I'm standing on this. Now, I tried getting it to the point where I could stand on both at the same time, but it doesn't seem to work like that. As you can see, we're still only getting granite enemies spawning. As soon as I walk a little bit farther over here, it'll become exclusively marble enemies. And we should see that shift, yes. Now see, we're getting Medusas and Hoplites. Originally, I was hoping that we could get both types of enemies spawning at the same time, but that doesn't seem to be an option. So you can either choose one of these two enemy types to spawn, or you can just build something like I have here and swap between them. So now that we got the spawning requirements out of the way, let's quickly just talk about the actual area that I have set out here. So this is a very, very standard mob farm. I basically just have a flat plane of blocks traveling from my character, 62 blocks. Then you have a 22 block spawn platform on either side, and it's the same on both sides. And then you just want to make sure that above and below you, you have about 50 blocks of clear space. Now, because I built this in the caverns layer, you're not going to want clear space below you. You're going to want it to be solid blocks, because otherwise you'll have bats spawning down here, and you don't want that. But the 50 blocks above you can be open space, just to make sure that the 50 blocks below are completely filled. And once you have this area emptied out, you can just do a classic pyramid style farm. I don't have lava so that it's not burning up white rarity items. I'm instead using temple traps. Now, if you wanted to, you could use either lava or regular dart traps here if you are trying to do this in pre-hard mode. You could also use summons instead of temple traps. Now, I also have water candles and temple bricks here. This is 140 temple bricks in order to get the increased spawn, because now it's technically considered a jungle. Now, neither of these things are required for the farm to function, but they will increase your spawn rates, so I would highly recommend them if you can. You also don't have to use temple bricks. You could just use jungle grass, but temple bricks are easier, so that's what I used here. And then, if you were curious about this, I basically just have 4 timers going to 4 lines of spears, and then I turn them on so they alternate. And as you may have noticed, on the edges here, I also have dart traps. Now, the reason for that, and also the reason why this is built in the cavern layer, is because if this is in the cavern layer and you're in hard mode, you can get mimics spawning out here. But unless you hit a mimic, it's not going to aggro, and since I'm standing here, it's not going to aggro by proximity. So I have those dart traps in order to wake up the mimics, so then they will run to the farm. So those dart traps are not necessary to farm the foods, but if you do want to double it as a mimic farm, you can do that. And the final thing that I would want to mention is you can also convert this into a souls farm by adding enough blocks up here to change it into a corruption or a crimson or a hollow. But this does run the risk of getting hurt by a biome mimic. If a biome mimic spawns, it can fly through blocks and will kill you. So if you want this to be a fully AFK farm, I would highly recommend against turning it into a souls farm, although it is an option for you. And now, real quick, we can look at the drops. So I ran each of these farms I ran the farm for 1 hour for each biome type. So over here we have the drops from 1 hour of it in marble mode. We can see we got 16 of the pizza, which is the primary method of this farm. This is what we want. So 16 pizzas in an hour is pretty good. That's a higher, you're getting more pizza per hour than it takes to have the pizza buff for an hour, so that's always a plus. You can see we also got quite a bit of mimic drops, as well as the classic marble drops, so gladiator clothing, the Gladys sword. We also got a bunch of javelins, some slime from slimes that spawn, red husks, all of the normal things that you'd find down here. We're getting some mech boss spawns, because none of the mech bosses are dead on this world. So the spawn rates are actually very good. We also got 7 platinum from the hour on this side. Going over the granite, there's actually overall less items in the granite. Let's see, where is the spaghetti? I think it's in this chest. Yeah, so we got 12 spaghetti, slightly less, but overall not bad. Another reason why the granite mode might be better than the marble mode is you can get geodes, which will give you gems. So this could also double as a fully AFK gem farm, as well as an exquisitely stuffed farm. But other than these things, I mean, we're getting the night vision helmets, obviously, from granite. And then it's just all of the classic same old drops. We got slightly less money on the granite side. This might be because granite enemies tend to take longer to get here. This could also just be RNG with less mimics spawning. Who knows? Either way, this isn't really a money farm, but you will be getting about 6-7 platinum an hour running this. I'm not going to do a block-by-block tutorial. It's a very, very basic farm. The purpose of this video is kind of just spreading awareness, an easy way to get exquisitely stuffed in both pre-hard mode and hard mode. But guys, that's all I have for you today. So if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, consider subscribing to stay up to date with my daily uploads. And other than that, I thank everybody for watching, and I will see you guys next time.